Here we go, and we start our first game for today. Fine, so continue climbing to jam with pirates with Skellige control deck. Skellige control.
Got the heart of an uncrate.
Okay, here we go. Pirates go away, Corsairs. And what else? What else? I believe too many pirates. And starting with pirates here. Next in traditional start for Skellige control.
You gotta pay. Can't
So
let you through
17 seconds till the start of when opened.
Soon, sisters. Very soon.
Okay. So, what can we hear? I believe choral.
That might even be amusing.
I can use choral once again, in case I kill it. Okay, so what's next? What's next, guys? I've got still more fun, so why not play it now? So
welcome back, my friends, to the Gwent Tavern here live in Warsaw from CD Projekt Red Studios. I am McBeard, and I am joined for one more trip around the Gwent Open table. Mi hermano, Magwai, here we are for the final Gwent Open of the year. How do we feel?
Si, senor.
Yeah,
Muy bueno. I'm going to butcher my language for a little bit there. I don't know why. Today we say goodbye to Vintage Gwent. Homecoming.
My spy.
It's coming. As we're going to see some of the top players out there go at it for the very last time for this year. And we got some very interesting matchups and some very interesting new faces as well.
It's so great. I mean, Gwent has not seen a major content update in quite some time, and we're still seeing evolutions in the meta, and we are still going to see some new decks here in the tournament. But let's take a look at the cast of characters that will be joining us today here at Gwent Open number 7. This weekend is going to be pretty action-packed. Casper is making a return here from Poland. He was at a previous Open, and he's going to get another chance here, but he's got to go against the King, Game King from Austria, a player that a lot of people know made a presence at last Challenger, but he's back here in Warsaw for the Open. And then, of course, we got the Polish superstars. Tailbot and Adzikov are going to be joining us as well today. Top ladder players. Adzikov joining us again, was absent for a little bit, but he's back. And, of course, Tailbot, we saw a pretty great showing from Challenger.
Speaking of returns, Babes for Babes, Freddie Babes from England, one of the most accomplished, if not the most accomplished, Gwent competitor in general. coming back today. And we have Nudgwick representing Spain, one of the best countries out there. No bias whatsoever. Kingdom of Fate. I'm disappointed, my favorite right there. Nudgwick is trying to make, redeem himself from last performance, and he's going to go, it's going to be very interesting to see if he can do that. And then we have Cams, the last Polish representative today here, half of the roster Polish. And last but not least, the first ever female competitor in Gwent history, Radu Andreda, all the way from Romania.
So we've got some vets, we've got some new faces, and of course, you can join the conversation as well. We want to know who you think is going to have a chance to win any of these rounds. Of course, get involved in the conversation with the hashtag GwentMasters, and of course, you can follow us at PlayGwent and at Gwent Masters. But let's talk about this weekend. Let's take a look at the bracket and see how things are going to be running down right here. We're going to get things started here with Casper and Game King, a match that I am very excited to cast. Mogwai, you and I are going to get started with that very soon. So I won't dwell on that because we are going to be talking about decks, and there's some spicy stuff in this matchup. And then a Polish civil war of epic proportions. Two of the best players in the world taking on each other in the quarters. Tailbot taking on Adzakov. Anybody's game there, and I'm sure a lot of people are waiting to see this barn burner, to use one of my favorite wrestling
Polish guys and
wrestling also football, apparently, because we have England versus Spain. Freddie Babes, the most accomplished Gwent competitor out there, the only Gwent competitor who has multiple official Gwent titles under his belt, taking on Nudgwick, who's looking to redeem himself, like I said, from his prior performance. But he has to overcome, like I said, one of the best players out there. This is going to be a very intriguing third quarterfinal matchup. And to end it off today, two newcomers are going to go at it. Cams, representing Poland, one of a very established pro ladder player, taking on, like I said, the first female Gwent competitor ever. So that's going to be a really good one to start, to finish things off.
Oh, yeah. These two players brand new. Of course, the pressure is going to be on either end, but barriers have already been broken in this Gwent Open. And of course, if you need more information about Gwent, of course, check out playgwent.com. Join us on Twitter as well, at GwentMasters, at PlayGwent. Also look us up on Facebook as well, just to get involved with the conversation, because there is lots to talk about for this Gwent Open as we approach homecoming, of course.
$25,000 on the line in today's event. $1,000 will be at stake in the quarterfinals, followed up by $3,000 in the semifinals and finals as well, on top of a $4,000 boost bonus. Synonyms for the winner of today's event.
An extra heavy purse for the finals. Plus, every player got $1,000 for walking in through the door. Of course, they qualified, so it's definitely not as easy as walking through a door. But on top of that, the players are splitting each stake based on their performance. Should any player go 3-0, they get 100% of that match stake, which is $1,000 here on Saturday for the quarterfinals. Later on, it'll be, as Mogwai said, 3-3 with the bonus. If they go 3-1, it's going to be split 75-25, and should the players go the distance in a best of 5, it'll be split 60-40 for the winner. So no one's going home empty-handed, and hopefully, everybody can get a nice piece of the pie as we move forward to our next Gwent Open champion. Good. Yeah, money's pretty good. Now, also, one final thing, if you have linked your GOG account and Twitch, you have a chance of winning lots of great stuff, of course. Kegs, meteorite powder, just for watching. Plus, if you join us for the finals for at least 30 minutes, you will get the champion's favorite premium bronze card added to your collection. But of course, you're going to want to join us all weekend for some pretty great competitive Gwent. In the last, as you said, vintage Gwent. That's how we're going to look back on this one.
We say goodbye to that. It's going to be very exciting. Homecoming is amongst us. But today, in Witcher fashion, people are going to battle it out and take the last
games.
Gwent champion. I guess you can take that title, right?
Yeah, I mean,
you can say you were the best in the end, So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, the best. Yeah, the most recent is the best. What have you done for us lately? Of course. And now we're going to get into the action. We're talking a lot about matches, and we're not seeing a lot of gameplay. But what do you guys think? We got Game King and Casper getting things started. Would love to see the poll here. I did expect
their king.
They love the king, of course. Game King, a returning favorite. Casper is returning as well. He did have one prior appearance, but Game King, he's known. We've done a lot of thinking about the past lately, and Game King has been a part of many events in the past. So
from
looks
the very
like he's
beginning,
favorite.
actually, not the first challenger, but from the Gwent Slam and
everything.
everything.
Together, that's where I met him.
Yeah,
we met him.
Yeah. I met him there, and he's just been
If I would bet money,
a force to be reckoned with ever since. He did fall out of the scene for a little bit earlier this year, but he's made a strong comeback and a very solid performance against Tilbat in Gwent Challenger number 4, and is now looking to go further beyond the quarterfinals this time around against Kacper right here. Kacper has a big opponent in front of him, but Kacper is no slouch himself.
Oh, yeah.
He's underrated here, but a lot of the pro players would not agree with this.
And Casper's got some great decks that I cannot wait to see in action. Game King, of course, playing some favorites. Now, of course, we're talking about how well we know Game King, but maybe you are just getting involved here and you're not sure about Game King. Maybe you don't know Casper. Let's get to know both of these players. Here's Casper and Game King for our first quarterfinals match.
Sons of Nilfgaard!
It is my second Gwent Open tournament. It doesn't feel any different from the first one. I finished on the 4th place once again. I played quite a lot of games, but it's okay. Kind of okay with nature. I think it's not any different from the last one. My favorite card choice is Ointment. It is a Nilfgaard card, a bronze. You can resurrect at maximum of 5 base power unit. Yeah, it's pretty strong card. You can replay your favorite witches or something like that. So overall, it's very good. I think that Polish players got quite a lot of fans in the Gwent Open tournaments because the most players in Gwent are from Poland.
Comes next,
I think that
actually it's not about Mokwa.
Might go to the final and meet there, but I would like to be the part of the final as well. I brought pretty standard decks, and I have one weird deck with Vanilla Geralt and Elias swap. Those cards never were in the open, so we'll see how it goes. It's pretty strong red queen deck, and I think that strategy is okay. Yeah, I definitely try to Thornbreaker. It's part of the Witcher series, so it should be good, but I would probably start with the new Gwent Homecoming. It is last open before Homecoming. I don't think that it is any different from the others, since it's like we play in the same version of the game. It will be the last. It should be the same as a few before. I like riding a bike, and I think that is a great idea to do something like that, especially when we have the chance to ride bikes with Burza and with other competitors of the Gwent Open.
So let's play Fred. Let's be active.
There are many new competitors in this tournament. For example, Rado Andrade, the first female competitive in Gwent Masters. I had the chance to play against her in the qualifiers and other qualifiers on the pro ladder, and I think she's a really good player, and I'm looking forward to play against her and also the other newcomers. For this tournament, I've brought a soft target lineup. I'm targeting Alchemy. I have veterans with Mandrake, soldiers that are really good against Alchemy, Neckers that are favored against Alchemy, and Eitzne with just good rolls.
Okay, here I'm still leading.
Also win against Alchemy. I'm a new esports team. I recently joined the Pittsburgh Knights.
I've got still to develop my graveyard.
They are amazing, and
this is what I should do now.
Looking forward to play this tournament for them and many more in the future. In the finals of this tournament, there will be obviously playing myself against someone else. I think it's going to be either Talbot or Freddy Babes, and maybe also Arzikov. Yeah, we will see. If there would be a personal nemesis for me, then it would probably Talbot, because he likes to trash talk other people, and I would like to beat him for that.
As you can see, the Gwent competitors are the most fit out there.
It's true, yeah. Everybody on those bikes getting in some kilometers there with Burja. I mean, that is a nice little perk, right? I mean, I don't ride bike very often, but if I did, I'd want to ride it with Burja.
I kind of hate it, but I respect it.
Yeah, it makes me feel so tired. So let's get into these games here. They talked about their lists a little bit in the intro videos. We talked about Game King, soft targeting Alchemy, very interesting. And Casper, I mean, you heard it right from him, so it's already been spoiled. Vanilla Geralt swap with the Riot Officers. Oh baby, am I excited to cast that deck.
2 players, 8 different decks, ladies and gentlemen. Each and every single one of these decks are different archetypes, even though some of the leaders are shared. And in case you were wondering, Casper is indeed bringing Alchemy.
So now let's quarrel.
So that's good for Game King, but maybe he might be a little bit of a curveball. Let's take a look at the bans, though. I have a feeling that now, is this?
Okay. I was expecting an Arrakis Queen band here, but it turns out Catsper's banning John Calvade instead, so he has let Consume through. That is not something I was expecting, but at the same time, he is running Muzzle in a couple of his decks, so he may be ready to take on that deck.
Just checking, this is the last minute curveball, I think, on the ban here, going for the John Calvert ban from Casper here. Game King is going to lock down Greatswords here, so that's a huge threat. You know, with Consume and with Greatswords, we figure, you know, these are the decks that have stood the test of time. Consume especially has just shown that, you know, maybe not the greatest tournament performance, but when it gets going, it's almost impossible.
It's the ban magnet.
It's the ban magnet, right?
It's kind of like a free ban
Not this time,
deck.
apparently.
Yeah. I'm surprised. I was definitely expecting Game King to ban Skellige Greatswords, considering his lineups, but I was expecting a Arrakis Queen ban from Casper, so we're surprised right off the bat, and definitely intrigued. Let's take a look at the decks, though.
Yeah, we got a little special feature here.
There we go.
Carry over here from Challenger 4. We're going to talk about these decks. Now, we do know that the Greatsword is banned here, but that leaves us with Calvet, Brewer, and Foltest. Now, Mogwai, the first thing I want to talk about is Brewer.
Okay.
Now, people who know me know that I absolutely love Swap. I've played Swap, a couple variations out there on the ladder, but this version has got a kind of a cool mashup flavor here. Not only do you have the Varied Officers and Geralt of Rivia making a 20-point play, and not only do you have the Elven Scout and Xavier and Elias and Yavin to help support that, should you not be able to swap into Geralt of Rivia. But you also have the extra movement with the Varied Brigade to enable the Igni, and my favorite part, adding in this Dwarven core. Brewer drawing Barkley into Sheldon means that Xavier Morin is always a 19-point play. So between Geralt, who is just going to be assisting the swap, Xavier for a massive 19-point bomb, Igni, which you can line up, and Poet, we know is just very, very strong, just adding points to an already strong play. I am very excited to see how this particular list, which has never been seen, Geralt of Rivia, never seen before in a Gwent Open.
It's
the card that we all get from being in the beta, right? It's the most vanilla card there is, and here he is. And I think he's going to make a huge impact. Great tempo with the officers.
As we saw in the interview, Catsper is definitely looking to utilize this deck when going on red, so I don't think we will see this as a lead. But we do have two other very powerful decks that also have to be very metagame defined as well. He is running Alchemy Nilfgaard, a pretty standard variant from the looks of it, with one copy of the Guevara Medic to soft tech against Greatswords, and the rest of it seems really, like I said, straightforward with a total of, I believe, 10 Alchemy cards, unless my math is bad, 11 Alchemy cards, which make the Viper Witchers a 16-point swing. And the rest is rather standard. No Kahir, Rainfarn Novatra instead, because Kahir is more vulnerable to the likes of Mandrake techs in tournament environments. And this is the deck that Game King has tech for himself. And then we see Frog and Prey Greatswords right there, which was banned, so we will not be seeing that deck in this matchup. And let's take a look at Game King's lineup, though. Yeah.
Now, Game King, unlike Casper, decided to not bring Northern Realms, but instead bring monsters, which is an interesting choice, I think, between the players. We've seen Northern Realms really rise to power in the last two tournaments. Casper not running Kira instead of Muzzle, that's kind of like the big thing, but otherwise, you know, fairly standard with Witch Hunters. Game King, on the other hand, bringing Erica's Queen, not getting it banned, so it's going to get through. It's a very solid list, of course. Basically, what you can expect is just Necker madness, of course. It's just going to be a lot of reproducing. We got to keep counting. Oh, boy. Our favorite activity. I'll take care of that.
Thank you.
Also, Shoop is showing back up here. Just a quick look at the, if you haven't seen, if you're not familiar with the Consume list, this is what it looks like.
Shoop looks very, very interesting, especially because it does run one copy of Elven Blade, which is very important for the matchup against Foltest, as it will enable Game King to one-shot a Redeeming Elect after it has received a buff from Foltest, as it does deal a total of 10 damage. And he can pull that through Elven Mercenary, he can pull that through Triss Telekinesis as well, and he can reutilize it through Ethne too, which means that he has all the tools to handle the engine component in that matchup. The rest of the list, it's rather interesting because he is not running Shiru, so I'm not surprised he targeted Skellige Greatswords right there with this ban, as he is opting to go with the Sangram Outlaw and Aegles instead. So the rest is pretty standard for Shoop. You know, you just gotta have one copy of each bronze card. What do you think about the Shoop deck?
I mean, it's pretty cool. Shoop sees a lot of small variations because you can really kind of pick and choose your preference here. Elven Blade and Dwarven Agitator are kind of standouts in this particular list. I think it's pretty good. And then Game King, of course, known for loving veterans and, you know, staying true to that, bringing Skellige veterans here with Croc on Crate.
With Mandrake.
With Mandrake as well, of course. As well as Renew for a second Heim or perhaps a second Coral for control options as well. But Game King has always loved bringing veterans, and it's just, you know, playing to your comfort zone here. Game King, a fantastic player, a fantastic Vets player as well. And I'm expecting that this is probably going to do pretty well. He's one of the best Vets players out there. So looking forward to seeing how Vets is going to clash in this. And as you said, Mogwai, as well, two players, 8 completely different lists. We love that at the Gwent Open. So we're excited to get into these games right now.
I don't like diverse decks. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I know. We just want to.
I want
great swords all day, right? That's all we want to see. Okay. There are the players. They are getting ready. Kappa, indeed. And of course, Dandelion helping us out as usual, and Pal is around. He's lurking. I see him.
I can play
admitting the tournament as usual. So we're going to get Game King and Casper started off in just a moment, making sure everybody is ready and queuing in to the first matchup. Casper on the blue coin. Mogwai, what do you think the leadoff is for Casper here?
In this case, I can play.
It's definitely not going to be Brewer. I'd say you could go with Calvate. Calvate is a deck that you can potentially like push on blue. It's not that bad. But the thing is, it's the most important deck here for Casper. Casper has to find a way to get a win with John Calvate. That is Game King's target, and that is what he's really strong against. His Ethne looks really fine-tuned for it. His Croc on Crate with the Mandrake tech just seems really, really solid. Like, generally you want to pick the likes of Great Swords if you want pure power out of Skellige, but Veterans does enjoy a much better matchup in that sense. So it's going to be really intriguing. I think Game King's toughest matchup will definitely be the King full test. So it'll be interesting to see when Casper opts to go with that. But
and
I definitely
here we go, Casper against
I do expect
Game King.
Game King has a lot of freedom here. We're going second.
I think so. And Game King, I think this is a fairly uphill battle for Casper because we're talking. Game King was talking about sort of a soft target on Alchemy, but he also does have a soft targeting on full test with that Elven Blade addition to the Shoop list, as well as being able to drop Coral into those giant offices for the swap.
There it is.
He has to have the Mandrake as well. He has a couple of resets, which are going to basically land on gigantic units on the swap. But here we go, folks. Gwent Open number 7 leading off. Nilfgaard Alchemy on Casper's side going up against Skellige Veterans for Game King. This is it, my friends. Let's get this weekend started.
Casper having not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 golds in his opening hand. Some very solid mulligans there for him, as he does have access to 3 Viper Witchers right off the bat. He could actually potentially keep this ointment in his hand to make sure that he can that he doesn't, eliminate the chances of him bricking his Vic of Our Novice.
Mogwai, you're a Nilfgaard expert. What is wrong with Casper's hand? Is this like how much closer to an ideal hand could you ask for?
This is perfect, and this is very important for Casper. Having such a solid hand to start off with is exactly what he needs. I mean, everybody wants that, right? But this is the key matchup for Casper. This is his opportunity. His one shot, his mother spaghetti, to get that win with the deck that Game King is prepared for. And I mean, everyone likes Gwent too. Here we go.
Thinking about the Rainfarn leadoff here with Cantarella. He's going to get a little bit of extra bonus here. The 9-point play for the 13-point spy. Not bad to get things started here on the blue coin. He's going to have to pick up one of these alchemy cards, which is not that bad because he is only holding 2. The chances here, I mean, being able to lead off on blue means you're not going to get open passed against as well. Now, Game King is holding his spy, so he'll be able to turn this around. His spy is in his hand, so Heim is a little bit, well, that's going to be more so for Morkvarg, which is going to protect his position a little bit on the pass, although more important on the blue coin. Still could be a fair leadoff, but he could also think about just flipping the coin right back around here with Udalric and actually getting things started here on the loyal side of the board. But it might just be a setup for Morkvarg, of course.
Yeah, I believe he's going to go Heim into Scowl, into his carryover play, establishing his carryover early on in the match. Will put Casper in a bit of a precarious position.
He's going to have to really
already played his spy, so...
Yeah. He's going to have to really rely on those huge Viper Wishes cutting into Cantarella to get a boost here, as 21 points already separating here. Game King leaning into that little bit of point advantage that Casper has afforded him. But yeah, Casper being able to drop 16-point Viper Witchers with at least one great target to hit to get things started will keep this pretty close.
The thing is, whenever you face Alchemy, Nilfgaard, despite the the power the deck has as a whole, it does have a weakness, and that is the fact that it has to play into one of the two first rounds, as they need to fill up their graveyard with ointment targets. Otherwise, we're looking at 3 potential blanks for a long round 3.
Ooh,
and there
not
it is!
good.
Double ointment. That is not what you want to see. Casper,
very nice.
Rewarded with an amazing opening hand, punished.
Oh man, Game King can just
With the mother of
Game
bricks.
King's got
Oh,
some
wow.
advantage.
He was thinking about the Viper Witcher. He had it. He was taking his time, and I guess, I mean, with the ointment in hand, it's not that
90
high rolling.
points.
You've got Swallow
90
Potions. I mean, we can even
difference.
talk about how unlikely that was going to be. Casper had
Even
3
thoughts.
Swallow Potions in the deck, 2 Ales in the deck as well. But he saw 2 ointments with an ointment in his hand. Not, it wasn't unlikely, but boy, is that
man.
hurt. It's still always a possibility, and playing to,
Okay,
I don't
here we
even think
go.
it was that high
Should we
rolling.
kill
Kept the no, it was like he kept the ointment in his hand. He had 2 ointments, 2 Macam Ales, triple Swallow Potion in the deck, and he just
So
he got
unfortunate.
screwed there.
Game King now has just a lot of comfort, a lot of breathing room here to develop those veterans, get things started. Now, Game King, just talking about veterans a little bit, didn't get started off with the Twirsark Bearmaster, which means that he wasn't able to set up a restore play in the graveyard. So he's going to start playing those veterans first, because now you're going to get that onboard value, you're going to get that extra round 1 push value, and of course you can still use those Spear Maidens to thin out at least one of these hunters. And Triss, perhaps with a reconnaissance, can get that last, well, the last veteran likely coming from Croc. And then Triss can recon that last one of those Bearmasters out. And actually, those Spear Maidens all active. Everything is completely fine for Game King's hand here. Casper taking a fantastic opening hand and hitting those bricks. We're going to see how much that impacts here as this game goes on, but that's definitely not what you want to see.
Casper
Ooh,
just has to
another
like, act
chance
as
here.
if nothing happened.
No
and-
way, I can't stand it. If he sees
No,
2
no, he
ointments,
can. He has 1 ointment
course,
in hand.
he used it, right?
There's no possibility. Now, he could just
'Cause he
really
didn't-
try to thin as much as possible here. He goes for a 14-point play. Catching up to Game King. Game King, see, the thing is, while you can force Alchemy out with an early pass and force him to play into the following round, you're a veteran Skellige. You also have a game plan that revolves around building up your carryover strength, and the way you build up your carryover strength is obviously through the likes of Morkvark, but more predominantly through the likes of the Three-Star Veteran. So you have to play into the round as well. You also have Resurrections, even though he's only running 2 Priests of Freya, unlike a Skellige Greatsword's list, which tend to run 3. So he's less reliant on that Resurrection late game, but it is still favorable for him to play into that round. He does have that Morkvark, which is very threatening, as it puts Casper in an awkward position. If Casper is not able to catch up, he won't be able to drive pass because of that Morkvark's carryover strength. So it's going to be interesting to see how this round progresses, as that was a 2-point tempo play. That's just awful. That's just absolute garbage, and he has to make up for that here.
And you know, it's great. One of the things I wanted to talk about for Skellige Veterans, one of the things I really love about the deck is that you can play it, the sequencing is so fluid. Your Spear Maidens can be very, very important for you early on, but if you have all your Bearmasters in the deck and they're all getting boosted up by those veterans, the Spear Maidens become extremely important plays late game, as you can pull out the 3 or 4 point Bearmaster to make these, these huge 14 to 15 point plays on top of that. So the Spear Maiden's good early and late. Freya's, of course, being better late, but we saw those mulligans taking care of that on top of that, as we finally get a Viper Witcher coming out and knocking Morkvark down. So again, Casper going for the lower tempo play because he doesn't get all that value from the Viper Witcher. He only gets, 10 points right there, hurting carryover just a bit. But Morkvark still being a threat as far as being on the board next round here, as Spear Maiden is going to go for the thinning play to get that Twirsark Hunter out. Thinning most important. I actually wanted to ask you a question, Mogwai. When Casper saw the double ointment, Brick Novice, he opted to play the ointment anyway instead of confirming choice. The thinning was more important in this situation.
Yes. It's important to run through your alchemy's cards as best as possible. Even though he does have 4 golds in his hand,
That's
he
what I was
has
thinking.
no silvers. He has access to none of his silvers, except for Cantrella and Roach, obviously, right? So he You always want to send with this deck. You need to send. You need to make sure that you don't top deck those
okay,
alchemy cards. You just get it out of the way anyways. Because that way you also prevent, you know, that break from happening again, potentially.
So
it was the 4 gold cards, though, that made me pause there.
Yeah.
I'm like, your draws are,
here we go.
you have the cards. Like, you've got the cards you're looking for later as well. So I actually am interested to see what everybody thinks about that. Because, I mean, the thinning, ultimately, I mean, consistency is just so important. But when you've got the 3 Viper Witchers, you could have drawn into those ointments.
There's one target. There's one target that Game King does not. I think Coral is looking to be a very, very fine tool to stop that Roach, as we do know pretty much every card deck out there runs Azir. Being able to deny Azir returning Roach onto the deck could be very impactful, especially considering that Roach is quite thick at this point. 12 strength points.
Yeah.
Down goes the 3rd veteran, though, as Game King ends his
30-point lead
setup.
here.
Yeah, that's just absolutely massive. We
so
see
there's
Azir right there.
Yeah. I mean, so, and Casper can play Vesemir into Mandrake and boost up Roach, and then, of course, tuck Roach back in for a later gold play here. But it's interesting, because Casper has such a gold hand right now, he's not drawing into those golds, he already has them. It means that his power plays in round 3 are limited, because it actually limits the plays he can make right now. He probably is interested in buffing up Roach, but exactly what you said, Coral is a threat, Casper knows it. But outside of that, you've got your Viper Witcher, Triss, Villagefort, Calvet. These are all like massive plays for later, and Casper has had enough. He's going to have to pass here. He takes his card, Game King, with a massive lead here, plus carryover. We're going to go into round 2 here. Gwent Open number 7.
Really good for Game King, because Casper has already played his card advantage Spy, and we see Ulderic in Game King's hand. Game King, Ulderic's brother, apparently, can play into this round as long as he wants. He can set up the round 3 that he wants, basically, because he has full absolute control here.
And the hand just gets better and better for Game King, drawing that Renew, which is active on Heim. And also mulliganing away the Bearmaster, because he's more interested in thinning those cards out with the Reconnaissance, perhaps Triss into Reconnaissance.
He also blacklisted it that way, so it ensures that he has a higher chance of drawing into a silver or a gold by doing that.
That Spear Maiden's going to be great round 3 potential, pulling out those Bearmasters. They're all in there, only 9 cards left in Game King's deck, and 3 of them are Bearmasters and 2 of them are Freyas. Now, those are pretty good draws here. Here comes that first Bearmaster from the Reconnaissance, activating the Spear Maiden. Also, a healthy 17 points to get things started here, as Casper is now fighting for his life already. He's got the double ointment, 2 Viper Witchers available. He's got the Black Blood in hand, and Vesemir active on the Mandrake. Triss and Villagefort, just huge plays, of course.
Raphael, Game King with the driver's seat right here, taking absolute control of round 2, setting up round 3. Casper basically has to drop his least valuable resources. Also, increase the size of his graveyard so he can get good value out of these ointment plays and preserve his most powerful swings for round 3. But it's gonna be tough. If Game King has to determine exactly how long this round has to go. Because Alchemy has one of the strongest round 3s, especially if it's relatively short. So I'm very intrigued to see how far Game King will be willing to push. This is a matchup that he's prepared for. He knows. I'm pretty sure he's very well set to.
Game King is bleeding cost
to beat Alchemy. He knows exactly how he needs to push. So it's going to be interesting to see when he drops when he opts to go out of this round here.
I mean, I think that Ulderic is always going to be a great choice here, just because you're able to get those points back if you actually smell an opportunity to really push. On top of that, with that extra card you get, because Coral is, it's a huge swing. There's not a lot of great options for Coral here, because depending on how the beer flows, depending on how the potions land, you can get a huge one. You can get a huge swing with Coral, but it's not always guaranteed. And Casper not giving that opportunity to crush Roach down into an artifact there. So. And it looks like there goes a doomed Freya. So Game King setting up those 2 Bearmasters, likely was going to slot right into those 2 Freyas as a later draw, potentially either from Triss or the draw. 1 Freya is now gone. And Casper also, at least he has the benefit of the Viper Witchers, kind of that perfect slotting in there. 11 points right on the 11-point bear. You always kind of have that kind of reliable target for the Viper Witchers to make sure you get that full value in this matchup.
This can be a Cyrano deck, yeah? So I got to do
his cards. I expect him to perhaps drop the Hunter, as it is a decent 14-point play at this stage, but
yes, cards are so strong at this point. I mean, you could also get one of the you could get your veterans out, another veteran out here with Sigdrifa. Usually, what she can be used for. I mean, there's a couple of situations where she might be pulling something else, like
but
a hunter if you need it. But in this situation, it just gives an extra boost to the Bears, which are likely to come back because you do have that availability through Triss, and of course the draw. Renew's looking great for Heim. On top of that, I mean, Game King's hand is stacked at this point. Now he's just going to look for the best value in Coral. Where does he think he's going to get that Coral value?
That's the key thing here. I'm not sure if he's going to opt to go for Coral this round, because Coral, the shorter the round is, the least amount of buffs Catsper is going to be able to get onto his units, which means Coral doesn't really represent that much value. So I would not be surprised if he would opt to drop it this round. Because if the round is too short, it's not going to be a solid option for him. But maybe he opts to hold on to it. He already does have a renew target anyways in Heim, but we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, Game King has this matchup very well studied, so he knows how deep he has to push here. Ooh, there's the ghoul right there.
There's the ghoul, and there is now is this the option here? The spot. Well, the spot's not in the graveyard because Udalryk was played in this round. He's just going to go for the Ekamar for the highest tempo play.
I like this play. Denying the carryover. That's the best play Catsper could go for. It takes 1 point out of Game King's next round 3.
That's also good.
Now, I think that in this situation here, Game King could realistically consider Coral just because Renew gives you that flexibility. You obviously have a great choice at Heim, but if you need Coral later, and here comes maybe the decision being made exactly as we're drawing it up
I
here,
like this Coral play.
Just get that value here, the 16-pointer.
I'm a big fan of this Coral right here. It enables him to push deeper. It's going to force one of Catsper's golds out of him or his leader. Regardless, a very powerful card has to be dropped down here for Catsper.
Here comes
and he targets the novice to potentially disrupt some ointment plays in round 3. I like that targeting right there.
Well, I mean, there's definitely that. I mean, when it comes to decisions being made by a matter of a single point, sometimes you just kind of want to maybe protect yourself here. The ghoul's already been played. That's the big thing, I think, because with the ghoul, the Black Blitz specifically, basically taking ghoul out of the equation, Cantarell is much less of a liability being in the, Udalryk is much less of a liability being in there. As Mandrake.
Ooh, interesting. He wants to deny the renew.
Targeting the renew, perhaps. Very interesting consideration here.
I'm a big fan of that one because, okay, let's take a look at Heim, right? What does Heim do in this matchup? Heim can take either Azir,
that's not great,
Joachim, or Roach. So, I mean, Joachim is pretty good, though. Joachim is very solid.
Is likely the best, especially considering you've got those, you got the thick Bear Masters, right?
No. The Heim doesn't target
disloyal units. That is correct. Yeah. Well,
it's only Azir.
So this is pretty important here. So now, Heim. I mean, Heim ends up still being a 14-point play. I don't know how much, and there could be a little bit of disruption, I guess, if you want to tuck the Viper Witches back in. Take that chance with Calvet active. It's less reliable to do something like that. So Game King's approach with this renew is.
I'm not against the. It depends on what he opts to do, but he could actually drop Triss here and have it be the renew target and push Catsper even further. That's a possibility, I think.
It's a huge play, too. Triss.
He's pushing deep.
Oh, he is pushing deep if he's going to play the Hunter.
Every single one of these plays here are just
bleeding.
Devastating for Catsper. Like, that's another goal down the drain.
Now, Casper's got to make a huge decision here, and he has no options. He has to play something here. Calvet probably is the best. I mean, Triss represents a lot of value. Calvet lets you see what Village of Forest is pulling at this point. So
I have to go Calvet.
At least you got to take a look here. Ooh, the Vico's good. I think the Vico is good for the Village of Forest off the top. So you might just consider playing the Swallow Potion right here just to make sure that you get that, because at this point, Game King's looking pretty aggressive.
So now Prague gives me a threat.
I like this line of play. Vigavaro Medic top deck into Azir to return Roach to his deck.
Yeah.
And then finishing off with Triss Telekinesis, getting Roach out of the deck.
I mean, he's also probably drawing into the Vigavaro Medic.
He wants to disrupt his draws and deny the restore as well. He wants to deny the restore target onto that, this round at least. He wants to make sure that he doesn't get 2-0'd here.
Yeah, and that definitely does protect here. So that just changes things a little
more
bit.
More preemptive play here by Catspur.
Pretty heads up. Definitely expecting Renew from Game King.
So he passes.
Not an unlikely inclusion for bets. I mean, Renew's pretty good. Like you getting.
I don't know. I mean, if I would expect a card here, I would expect Triss from Game King because he can always renew it.
Yeah. Oh no. As far as order here, I mean, Game King has one option. Okay. I'm just saying that Casper predicting that Renew is a threat.
Yeah.
It's realistic. Just being able to get the double Heim, double Coral, double Triss. Like, there's just so many great options here. It's almost always good for that.
Clock is ticking for Game King here.
Yeah. Game King realizing that his options are limited.
He does pass. All right. This Casper still has a very strong late game here. This is going to be very interesting. That Renew is not going to be nearly as powerful as you would think.
But I think Triss is so important for this round. There goes the Swallow. Gets the Vico Varo Medic.
Down the line. Ooh, boy.
That was not a guaranteed draw. It was right underneath the Swallow right there. He wanted to draw into the Vico Varo Medic because the Vico Varo Medics are so great. He's going to grab the huge Bearmaster right here.
He didn't return his... He didn't return Rook. He returned 2 cards from his opponent, so it was a guaranteed draw right there.
Well, the Swallow was on top. Well, you know what? Well, the Swallow was on top of the deck.
He drew Swallow and he mulliganed it into Vico Varo Medic.
So 3 cards to go, Z.
This is very, very key for Catspur. If Catspur can get a win here, that would be massive. This is the targeting
17 points
deck for Game King.
And
this
I mean,
crucial.
Getting that Vico Varo Medic now, Catspur running just the one. That's the only Vico Varo Medic, which is very threatening here.
Renew onto Heim. Gonna create a silver unit. Oh, okay, so it doesn't...
Oh, Joachim is part of the pool.
Is part, yeah.
Oh, Mogwai.
But he has to go for a Zir anyways.
Well, he wants to maybe, he's trying to find a way. He wants to maybe hurt Vilgefortz a little bit too, because that makes Vilgefortz not a sure thing anymore. Well, I guess it's not a sure thing anyway, because we've already seen the draws in the mulligan, assuming, and we already know that there's one Vico Varo Medic in the deck. The Swallow was mulliganed as well, so we don't know where that got shuffled back in. So, so Vilgefortz is a mystery at this point, and now looking, yeah, just get it over with. If you know it's going to be bad, you got to take a look now.
Oh,
it's going to be the Vico Varo Novice. Not bad. You'll take it.
How did that?
Not punished at all. Very strong swing for Catspur. No reason to play around Coral anymore, as Renew has been shown, so there's no chance that it can get punished. He could potentially have Igni, even though it's very unlikely. He is opting to play a bit around that and not stack all the strength onto the Vilgefortz right there, buffing the Vico Varo Novice. Catspur at 37 points. Come here. With a 23-point lead over Game King. Game King is 7 points behind. Triss versus Triss.
Triss versus Triss. Triss going to give a bear hug one way and a novice another way, perhaps.
I think Catspur has this. I think Catspur definitely has this.
Going to get full value on that Viper.
There's 2 others.
He's going to get that novice too.
I think he has to go directly to Viper, which
yeah, because he did play. He got the burn early, right?
Full value right there.
What a disparity in points here. Game King just isn't going to get
this
there.
Is not enough. Catspur is getting the win with the deck that Game King teched against. This is huge for Catspur.
Did he not get the recon either? Oh, he does. Well, he can use the ointment.
He can use the ointment.
He can use the ointment. Yes.
He can go into Spear Maiden.
All right, we're going to see. This is going to close things out here.
Ointment, I believe that. Yeah, okay. Onto the Bearmaster. 7 points behind. Game King loses the first matchup against Alchemy. Catspur with the win.
Ooh, this definitely changes the tempo of this match right here. Big. Game King saying he was soft targeting Alchemy, and Alchemy gets the first chance in. Ooh. Now Catspur is going to be able to. Now Catspur in the commanding position, going in red coin with a Bruverhook deck that is probably going to throw Game King off. And also, I think that, I mean, he's going in with veterans again. I think Coral is going to be super strong against Bruverhook. But the thing is, Game King is probably not anticipating this. I think that the biggest thing that you're anticipating when you see Bruver, or you see any Scoia'tael right now, is Scoia'tael Shoop. So I think that that's probably what Game King is anticipating. And you wouldn't necessarily think that Coral or some huge reset plays would be that important. In that particular matchup. Now, Ethna also has a lot of reach as well, being able to replay things like. Well, it's going to be mostly for thinning. You have Decoy Marching Orders and, of course, the Elven Blade. That's not necessarily what you're going to want here. It's going to go full test versus Erica's Queen. Now, I liked the full test list from Casper. He's running a Witch Hunter version with the Knight Elects and the Kidwini Knights, plus a great addition that I like in Last Wish instead of something like Marching Orders or another tutor, because you're able to get that gold from Last Wish as well. And Muzzle instead of Kira, which is a bold choice, but very, very good for tournament meta as well.
I mean, Muzzle is key here. Muzzle will enable Casper to potentially steal one of Game King's Neckers, and that could really disrupt this game plan.
I mean, Game King needs to draw a solution to the Muzzle, and he did.
Yeah,
and he did.
There we go.
Problem solved.
Oh, you're mulliganing away. Oh, that's risky.
Oh, very interesting.
That's risky.
Very interesting choice here.
Well, he's opted to mulligan away with Slizzard for last. We'll see.
Slizzard's got a lot done if the Vran or the Vran is answered.
I mean, he does have decoy though.
Warrior.
Or he's going to opt to keep this hand. I mean, this is not a bad hand. You can just go with this.
Dangerous.
All right, here we go. Okay, Casper 1, Game King 0. Game King has to climb back up here and overcome that very... I think that loss is quite devastating for Raphael here.
Double Witch Hunter in hand. Double Witch Hunter, not great for Casper. Germain in hand is very good. Germain being played right into full test is getting extra value on those extra units, those cows as well. Knight Elects, 2 Knight Elects in hand with no direct answer. The thing about Consume that I feel is probably, I mean, Consume can go down like upwards of 3 cards and still have a devastating round 3, which is really, really scary. But Northern Realms is able to set up the engines and also push massive tempo. The engines keep ticking, which actually can really hinder the lower tempo start for Consume. So Casper not banning Consume, maybe even anticipating this as well, as Game King leads off with the Frightener picking up Brewis. And now this is just going to be so many points. Now if Casper wants to lead off with Germain full test and maybe develop a Knight Elector too, it's going to make it really hard for Game King to catch up if he's going to start off with that low tempo Necker play with the Necker Warrior.
Okay, let's start with
Bran. I think it's very bold of Game King to play Frightener unless he's thinking about passing immediately.
I don't think you can do that as Consume. He's opting to play Foltest before Germain.
Interesting choice.
That's interesting for sure.
He definitely considered it.
I'm definitely expecting Muzzle and Vettermaker to be some of the initial plays here for Casper. He can opt to steal the first Necker with Muzzle, or he may just go right off the bat with the Frost onto it. In this matchup, you want to use Vettermaker as a weather setter, and you want to go for a Frost in the row in which the Necker is deployed. But he opts to go for the Knight Elect instead.
He wants to get these engines ticking. He wants to know that on a pass, if Game King needs to take 2 or 3 turns to set up, he wants to make sure that's going to hurt him real bad. 4 points a turn. That if you have to go down 2 cards, that means you have to also combat 8 points of value plus overcome the following turn. So this is extremely low tempo. If we see another Knight Elect here, I honestly think that Casper may pass after playing this next Knight Elect, especially considering his hand is not super fantastic. Plus he does have the Muzzle to go into the Necker play perhaps in round 2, which would really slow down Game King if he already had to expend a lot of cards and huge bombs to get there. And I'm wondering how strong Game King can Game King overcome like just constant round over round value here.
There goes the Muzzle. Oh, or not.
When is it most effective to take that Necker? I mean, you got to put Game King on not keeping the second one. And there's the eyebrow raise. So slightly maybe under-expected, but he did keep that second Necker in hand just in case. But boy, does this start to be slow. Game King probably thinking about a pass, perhaps.
Like but how can you? You really want to try to avoid that. You want to try to avoid. You could just drop the Vran Warrior onto the Necker Warrior there. He doesn't need to play his Necker immediately here because he's already played the first Necker Warrior, right? So
I can just hope for Peter.
Like I said, pass. Like none of these 2 players want to pass. Whether they're forced into that position or not is a different story. But as a Consume player, you want to be able to take control of round 2 because getting bled is a very risky position to be in. You don't really mind going down 2 cards.
So I've got
as long as you take control of the game. Control of round 2 is imperative, especially when you have such a powerful proactive deck.
So
I'm expecting the better. There we go. Now he plays it.
Well, it's playing still into what I think is being the setup here for Casper is just overtime value. So with the Frost ticking and potentially 2 Knight Elects, maybe even 3 with the Reconnaissance or something that Stennis might pull, which of course is very risky because of the Witch Hunters. If he's able to develop engines to this degree.
Okay, there.
I mean, I honestly think that when you have Witch Hunters to do resets on the Neckers, that you could comfortably pass, knowing that it's going to take a lot of points for Game King to actually go into this round, or you can just get the ultimate where Game King can recognize that he can't do it and actually cedes control of the round to Casper anyway, with Casper being able to pass.
The only way Game King passes here is because he knows he can't catch up in like a bunch of plays. Like, that's the only way. Otherwise, you just don't pass. You don't give your opponent the luxury. And the same goes for Casper. Casper has to have a tremendous lead in order to even think about passing. Passing is extremely dangerous against this deck. If you give a consumed player control, they will beat you. Even if they're 2 cards down, like, they will overwhelm you, especially in the Northern Realms matchup. Like,
but with the Witch Hunters, though?
I do not. No, the Witch Hunters don't do that much.
I mean, not on last play, but if you make the consumed player go down cards, then you have last say, and you can at least reset one gigantic Necker coming back out.
Yeah, but
or the Forktail as well. The Forktail is also a great target for the Witch Hunter.
Yeah, but that's just like one counter to that play. Like, you just don't pass.
Oh, I mean, we're talking about a situation where Game King goes down multiple cards, and, you know, multiple cards giving up a turn. Here comes Selkirk.
That's a good. That's a
Casper is making 51 to 1 Mogwai.
See, this is tough. This is tough because the thing is, you can go down 2 cards, but going down 3, that's really risky.
Okay,
I mean, with
Casper
4-point turn
pressure, Game King is in very big trouble.
I don't know if this is a bold statement or not, but I feel like Game King is in an impossible position in this round at this point, and Casper hasn't even dropped the second Night Elect. 4 points a turn, no, like the setup just barely. Nothing in the
completely denied.
Got to do it. He's got to see. This is massive. Casper can bleed almost everything, but it's tricky. Just one right draw, one Slizzard draw can mean just a mountain of points for Game King. So it's not out yet, but of course the control here for full test. Get rid of that. He's going to hold on. No, you know what? I like this. I like this. We were just talking about how important the Witch Hunters will be. You can use multiple Witch Hunters if you're not thinning. So that's each one of those becomes less of one answer Mogwai, it becomes multiple answers.
The problem with the Witch Hunters, like for example, Witch Hunter to Forktail, is that it doesn't even trade off with that card technically, as Forktail has 4 more base power. So they're not really. Sorry, 5 more, but because of the buff from Foltest, the strength difference in the initial card is 4. As we see Shani going down, Casper has to push here. One card down. He forced Game King to pass right there, which did not feel good. But at the same time, he's not out of the woods yet. He has to push Game King as deep as he can to just completely leave him completely. Helpless in round 3 here.
Yeah, same strategy as round 1. Develop engines and make it hurt. Just leave Game King destitute for points. And also, just in case you're wondering, Casper is running 2 Thunderbolt potions and 1 Tormented Mage to make that draw on the Thunderbolt potion not a brick. And of course, having a lot of value in this matchup, being able to play the Witch Hunters from hand individually is just generally, Casper's hand is better than it may appear on paper.
Particular round.
Casper setting up the engines immediately. He has dropped a lot of very powerful resources in round 1, though. The weather generation through Better Maker with the Frost and the Selkirk. Selkirk is so strong, and not having Selkirk now definitely hinders him. Game King has to start enabling his game plan here and just
still winning 4.
Get that proactiveness going and try to preserve the likes of Phoenix.
I've got the poisons.
Game King wants a 3-card round 3. Like a 3-card round 3 is enough for him to overwhelm Casper here. So this round is gonna be long, but it's gonna really come down to how much Casper's
I've got to play the
engines here in the Redanian Night can counter this insane
so this is a plan.
Greedy strategy.
It's just gonna get worse and worse for Game King in this round. The other thing that is working in Casper's favor, because we know, I mean, if you've played on the ladder, you know how much damage consumed can do in 1 card. But let's talk about Casper's round 3. You see 13 cards in the deck. You see Stennis, you see a reinforcements as well. Potentially Stennis drawing, well here the Tormented Mage represents 2 cards being thinned out, and you can make an argument for either one of these, but if you want to go for the thinning, you want to make sure that you're drawing into Dijkstra or a way to secure those Kidwini Knights. 3 Kidwini Knights are going to be in the deck, especially with this player, which is going to be a double thin. He's going to get the Thunderbolt. Again, Stennis thins one, another Witch Hunter could be a thin. Then you're able to at least draw into, if you draw into Kidwini Knight, you've got the triple blacklist, so that's a great mulligan. And then you've got Last Wish, which can grab you Dijkstra easily, or Last Wish just grabs one of those Kidwini Knights and gets the value out of it on top of that as well. Reaver Scout is also great to draw into the Kidwini Knight. And of course, there's the Reconnaissance for the Kidwini Knight. So actually, Casper's draws, even though he's got 11 cards in his deck, really highly favored to find what he needs, especially if he gets that Last Wish. So I think Casper's going to be trying to thin as much as possible. And also, it's in his favor because, you know, Stennis could grab a Knight Elect and just completely. We've already seen a 50-point lead, and I think Casper might actually get around that as well in this round. So Game Kings is doing what Consume does, but it's just looking a little on the slow side here.
Yeah, it definitely seems slow here. That muzzle slowed him down quite a bit. Even though he had another Necker in hand, that definitely disrupted his sequencing. As he's going to go for Slizzard onto Ran Warrior, going to consume the Necker Warrior and potentially chain onto another.
Here comes Stennis, more thinning, maybe.
But that's the thing. Like Casper's putting a lot of strength on the board, but he's also running out of steam here. Like he does have the Witch Hunters, but
steam engine, my friend. And then you know what? This isn't even that bad. You get the Vran Warrior, 10 points.
It's going to be second.
How much? That was 9 points onto the Vran Warrior plus 4, 13. That was a 17 point.
17 points.
Stennis right there, pretty solid. And double Radiating Knight Elect is.
Can I catch him?
What's going on here for Casper? Like that's just so strong.
I mean, we're talking about running out of steam, but Casper's got the engines.
Yeah, he's got the engine.
Just, you know, well, I mean, I'm sure there's a joke in there somewhere I totally whipped, but you know what I'm trying to say here. Casper, I think, is making this. He's trying to make this as strong as possible while still leaving him some sort of options in round 3. But at this point, I mean, if I was in Casper's position, it's bleed. If you actually get Consumed to pass, and you're able to get these engines out, and you saw Shawnee was like the first play. Casper was in this for the long haul, getting his engine out immediately. So I think that, I mean, especially considering the Witch Hunters, you know, the more you push Game King, the more you're going to see stuff like Forktail, see stuff like, you know, a large consume, the Vrans, of course, consuming the Neckers on top of that. The Witch Hunters could just very realistically shut this down as a 2-0 for Casper, and I think, outside of that Thunderbolt being that last consideration, perhaps for a mulligan into one of the great things we talked about, Last Wish, Dijkstra, or the Kidwini Knight as well, I think that you go as deep as potentially playing one Witch Hunter. I mean, with a lead like this, 71-29, I think it's a consideration.
I mean, with the Knight Elect, you want to just go as far as you can. 42-point lead for Casper. 42 points with 2 engines.
5 points lead.
Taking every turn. Game King hovering over his Forktail right there. Gonna opt to consume one of the Neckers here and start, you know, getting his own high swing tempo plays going on. Down goes the Forktail, consuming the Necker Warrior and the Necker.
I can play
going up to 49 points still, 22 points behind.
Witch Hunter with the quickness.
Oh my lord, that is so strong. These Witch Hunters, the fact that he didn't chain them, the fact that he kept them separate, and he was able to pull one of them through Stennis is so important here. Like the point gap is, like this is strange. We're seeing Foltest versus Consume.
Nah, it all makes sense.
Foltest is just making so much more points here.
The pressure was on. I mean, I actually wonder if the game-changing play might have actually been game-changing off of the Frightener, because giving Casper that massive point gap just obviously impacted Game King's decision here. And Casper at this point seeing the easy Witch Hunter, and you know, it's starting to be clearer and clearer why he let Consume through. You know, you keep the individual Witch Hunters just to make these insane shutdown plays. And, you know, it comes from the mind of a player who loves playing boost cards. You know, he's got an Idol X, and he's got this amazing Groove of Hoogless, which we might actually see next game if Casper is able to secure a win here, which is becoming more and more likely as Bruce is forced out. Massive component. These are 3 massive plays for Game King, and Casper is likely to put him on Phoenix and Slizzard as being the most dangerous things that could be in Game King's hand right now. So why not play another card, maybe,
This Araka's Queen is going to be insane, though. This Araka's Queen is representing a a tremendous amount of points for game
gotta
here.
hold the Witch Hunter, right?
He's gonna proc the Neckers once with the Brand Consume here at the beginning of his turn, and then he's gonna proc it again with triple. He's gonna proc it 3 times with the Raucous Queen, and he's gonna start chomping down on those Neckers too. So this is gonna, even though he is 50 points behind,
it's not much to consume sometimes.
Yeah, it's
not much.
This is gonna be very, very powerful. Also, the Raucous Queen is immune, so even though it'll be the biggest target on Game King's board, it will not be targetable by the Witch Hunter right here. The question is, do we see the Raucous Queen go down here?
I mean, I feel like it's the only real. I think that for
I could do better.
Exactly the reason why
I think you want to hold on though, because you may have the last Witch Hunter here. So
you use Brewers though. I mean,
because if you consume like 3 units, that's going to buff up all the Neckers. That's going to give him Casper a really solid target with the Witch Hunter here. This is going to be. He may preserve a Raucous Queen for like his final play to catch up. This is, he has a lot of math to do here. This is
the immunity is important. Now. The immunity is fine in either round, right? The immunity protects you here. It protects you later.
Here we go. Chump time.
I'm starting.
Gonna get things carried.
Look at that! Look at that boost.
I mean, this isn't the greatest Witch Hunter here. It's not poor, and it definitely forces another resource out. Casper is just trying to make sure if what is available in the graveyard here, as Slizzard and Phoenix both representing graveyard cards.
I mean, Forktail easily catches up here. The question is, does Casper pass and go into an even round? It'll be a 2-card round 3. A 2-card round 3, depending on what Game King draws. Especially if you're forced out of the likes of, even though he wouldn't play Phoenix, right? This is the question. Does he pass here, or does he drop his Witch Hunter?
Just checking the graveyard one more time. There is a
Here's the pass. He's forced to pass. He's forced to pass.
Well, he's calculating. He's like, whatever Game King has, he's going to get it.
Yeah, he has to pass here.
He can't create a big enough gap that is enough for Game King, I think, at this point. So.
And down will go Slizzard for Game King here.
But now also, Game King has to deal with the fact that he is losing 4 points a turn, or Casper is gaining 4 points a turn.
In the second round, that I'm.
So that's pretty good. So on the pass,
Slizzard does it easily.
12 points up.
Yeah.
But really, then he has to make up that additional 4 points that's going to be ticking over on the pass.
Well, he's only 12 points behind, so I'm pretty sure. He's fine by just consuming one of the Neckers. He doesn't have to go 2.
Okay, what's going?
Yeah, 1 will be enough.
Forktail, yep.
That will be the triple proc there. He's going to go for the Slizzard, which is going to be enough for the procs here.
And the question is, is he forced to play? Because the Brand Warrior will proc. He is forced though. Yeah, he's forced to consume one of the Neckers though. Getting another one out of the deck and easily getting ahead of Casper right here. And it's going to be for a second there I was like, what?
Okay, so
and here we go, 2-card round 3. He still has the Phoenix. He needs to draw into, well, it's easy.
No, Phoenix is like one of the best things to draw. He's got